I first met in person with Mary E. in the summer of 2007. I had arranged with her husband of 15 years, Terrence, to see her for an interview. Mary had initially agreed since I was not a newsman but rather an amateur writer gathering information for a few other college assignments, and if all went according to plan, some pieces of fiction. We scheduled the interview for a particular weekend when I was in Chicago on unrelated business. But at the last moment, Mary changed her mind and locked herself in the couple's bedroom, refusing to meet with me. For half an hour, I sat with Terrence as we camped outside the bedroom door, I listening and taking notes while he attempted to fruitlessly calm his wife. The things Mary said made little sense, but it fit the pattern of what I was expecting. Though I could not see her, I could tell from her voice that she was crying, and more often than not, her objections to speak with me centered around an incoherent diatribe on her dreams, her nightmares. Terrence apologized profusely when we ceased the exercise, and I did my best to take it in stride. Recall that I wasn't a reporter in search of a story, but merely a curious young man in search of information. Besides, I thought at that time I could perhaps find another similar case if I put my mind and resources to it. Mary E. was the psyop of a small Chicago-based bulletin board system in 1992 when she first encountered Smile.Jpg, and her life changed forever. She and Terrence had been married for only 5 months. Mary was the only of an estimated 500 people who saw the image when it was posted as a hyperlink on the BBS. Though she is the only one spoken openly about the experience, the rest have remained anonymous, or are perhaps dead. In 2005, when I was only in 10th grade, Smile.Jpg was first brought to my attention by my yearning interest in web-based phenomena. Mary was the most often cited victim of what is sometimes referred to as Smile.Dog. The being Smile.Jpg is refuted to display. What caught my interest, other than the obvious macabre elements of the cyber legend and my proclivity to such things, was the sheer lack of information, usually to the point that some people didn't believe it exists, other than as a rumor or a hoax. It is unique because though the entire phenomenon centers on a picture file, that file is nowhere to be found on the internet. Certainly, many photo-manipulated similaria litter the web, showing up on the most frequency on sites such as the image board 4chan, particularly the X-focused paranormal subboard. It is suspected that these are fakes because they do not have the effect the true Smile.Jpg is believed to have, namely sudden onset temporal lobe epilepsy and acute anxiety. This purported reaction of the viewer is one of the reasons the phantom-like JPEG is regarded with such disdain, since it's patently absurd, though depending on who you may ask, the reluctance to acknowledge Smile.Jpg's existence may be just much out of fear as it is out of disbelief. Neither Smile.Jpg nor Smile.Dog is mentioned anywhere on Wikipedia, though the website features articles on such other, perhaps more scandalous sites such as Hello.Jpg or Two Girls One Cup. Any attempt to create a page pertaining to Smile.Jpg is summarily deleted by any of the encyclopedia's many admins. Encounters of Smile.Jpg are the stuff of internet legend. Mary E.'s story is not unique. There are unverified rumors of Smile.Jpg showing up in the early days of OnUSet, and even one persistent tale that in 2002, a hacker flooded the forums of the humor satire website, Something Awful, with a deluge of Smile.Dog pictures, rendering almost half the forum users at the time epileptic. It is also said that to the mid to late 90s, the Smile.Jpg circulated on Usenet and used as a detachment chain with the email of the subject line, "Smile, God loves you." Yet despite the huge exposure these stunts would generate, there are few people who admit to experience any of them, and no trace of the file or any link has been discovered. Those who claim to have seen Smile.Jpg often wickedly joke they were far too busy to save a copy of the picture to their hard drive. However, all alleged victims offer the same description of the photo. Dog-like creature, usually described as appearing similar to a Siberian husky, illuminated by the flash of a camera, sits in the dim room. The only background detail that is visible, being human, is a human hand extending from the darkness on the left side of the frame. The hand is empty, but is usually described as beckoning. Of course, most attention is given to the dog or dog creature, as some victims are more certain about others what they claim to have seen. The muzzle of the beast is reputedly split into a wide grin, revealing two rows of very white, very straight, very sharp, very human-looking teeth. This is, of course, not a description given immediately after viewing the picture, but rather a recollection of the victims, who claim to have seen the picture endlessly repeated in their mind's eye during the time that they are, in reality, having epileptic fits. These fits are reported to continue indeterminately, often when the victims sleep, resulting in very vivid and disturbing nightmares. This may be treated with medication, though it in some sets is more effective than others. Mary E., I assumed, was not on effective medication. That is why after my visit to our apartment in 2007, I sent out feelers to several folklore and urban legend-oriented news groups, websites, and mailing lists, hoping to find the name of a supposed victim of Smile.Jpg who felt more interested in talking about his experiences. For a time, nothing happened, and at length, I completely forgot about my pursuits, since I began my freshman year of college, and I was quite busy. Mary contacted me via email, however, near the beginning of March 2008. Dear Mr. L., I am incredibly sorry about my behavior last summer when you came to interview me. I hope you understand that was no fault of yours, but rather my own problems that led me to act out as I did. I realized that I could have handled the situation more discreetly. However, I hope you forgive me. At the time, I was afraid. You see, for 15 years I've been haunted by Smile.Jpg. Small Dog comes to me in my sleep every night. I know that sounds silly, but it's true. There's an ineffable quality about my dreams, my nightmares, that makes them seem completely unlike any real dreams that I've ever had. I do not move and I do not speak. I simply look ahead, and the only thing ahead of me is that scene from that horrible picture. I see the beckoning hand, and I see the small dog. It talks to me. It's not a dog, of course, but I'm not quite sure what it is. It tells me it will leave me alone if I do only what it asks. All I must do, it says, is to spread the word. That's how it phrases its demands. I know exactly what it means. It wants me to show it to someone else. And I could. The week after my incident, I received a mail in my manila envelope with no return address. Inside was only an inch floppy diskette. Without having to check, I knew precisely what was on it. I thought for a long time about my options. I could show it to a stranger, a coworker, even show it to Terrence. As much as the idea disgusted me. Then what would happen then? Well, the small dog kept his word I could sleep. Yet, if it lied, what would I do? And who is to say something worse would not come after me if I did as the creature asked? So I did nothing for 15 years. Though I kept the diskette hidden amongst my things. Every night for 15 years, Small Dog has come to me in my sleep and demanded that I spread the word. For 15 years I've stood strong. Though there have been hard times, many of my fellow victims on the BBS board where I first encountered Smile.Jpg stopped posting. I heard some of them committed suicide. Others remained completely silent, simply disappearing off the face of the web. They are the ones that I worry about the most. I sincerely hope you forgive me, Mr. L, but last summer when you contacted me and my husband about an interview, I was near the breaking point. I decided I was going to give you the floppy diskette. I don't care if Smile.Dog was lying or not. I wanted it to end. You were a stranger, someone I had no connection with. And I thought I would not feel sorrow when you took the diskette as part of your research and sealed your fate. Before you arrived, I realized what I was doing. I was plotting to ruin your life. I could not stand the thought, and in fact, I still cannot. I'm ashamed, Mr. L, and I hope this warning will dissuade you from further investigating Smile.Jpg. You in time may encounter someone who is, if not weaker than I, then who are wholly depraved, someone who will not hesitate to follow Smile.Dog's orders. Stop while you're still whole. Sincerely, Mary E. Terrence contacted me later that month with the news that his wife had killed herself, while cleaning up the various things that she'd left behind, closing email accounts and the like. He happened upon the above message. The man was in shambles. He wept as he told me to listen to his wife's advice. He found the diskette. He revealed and burned it until it was nothing but a stinking pile of blackened plastic. The part that disturbed him, however, was how the diskette had hissed as it melted like some sort of animal, he said. I will admit that I was a little uncertain to how to respond to this, and at first I thought perhaps it was a joke, with the couple belatedly playing with the situation in order to get a rise out of me. A quick check of several Chicago newspapers' online obituaries, however, proved that Mary E. was indeed dead. There was, of course, no mention of the suicide in the article, and I decided that, for a time at least, I will not further pursue the subject of Smile.Jpg, especially since I have finals coming up at the end of May. but the world has odd ways of testing us. Almost a full year after I returned to my disastrous interview with Mary E., I received another email. Hello. I found your email address through a mailing list. Your profile said you were interested in Smile.Dog. I have it. I saw it's not as bad as everyone says. I have just sent it to you here. Just spreading the word. The final line chilled me to the bone. According to my email client, there was one file attachment called naturally Smile.Jpg. I considered downloading it for some time. It was mostly a fake, I imagined. And even if it weren't, I wasn't wholly convinced of Smile.Jpg's particular powers. Mary E's accounts has shaken me, yes, but what if she was probably mentally unbalanced anyway? After all, how could one simple image do what Smile.Jpg was said to accomplish? What sort of creature was it that could break one's mind with only the power of the eye? And if things were such patently absurd, then why did the legend exist at all? If I downloaded the image, if I looked at it, and Mary turned out to be correct, if Smile.Dog came to me in my dreams, demanding I spread the word, what would I do? Would I live my life as Mary had, fighting against the urge to give in until I died? Or would I simply spread the word, eager to be put to rest? If I chose the latter route, how could I do it? How would I burden in turn? If I went with my earlier intention to write a short article about Smile.Jpg, I decided I could attach it as evidence, and anyone who read the article, anyone who took interest, would be affected. Even assuming that the Smile.Jpg attached to the email was genuine, or be curious enough to save myself in that manner, could I spread the word? Yes. Yes, I could.